Hello everyone, my name is Callie Allen and I will discuss Constructivist learning theory. Constructivism is a learning theory that brings importance to student learning through self-guided exploration, reflection and analysis. Byrne and Butcher assert that learners construct their understanding of learning based on previous knowledge and experiences. It is a student-centered method of teaching. My experiences drive my beliefs in learning and teaching as a student. Students learn best when they come to knowledge themselves, exploring, questioning, and challenging each other through the collaboration facilitated by a teacher who acts as a guide. Social constructivism, which focuses on the collaborative nature of learning, is what my beliefs align to. Learning should feel fun and empower. Every student is different and learns differently. Learning is a lifelong pursuit, and we must continuously question ourselves to further ourselves as individuals. Using a constructivist methodology has a multitude of strengths, one of them being that students are encouraged to participate and they are actively engaged learners. Students are not passive absorbers of information, but rather engage with the information to seek further knowledge. Conway, Hillen, Landis, Schlickelmick, and Walgett say that it calls on teachers to organise instruction so that it elicits from learners independent, high-level inquiry and production. This type of learning gives the students ownership of the knowledge. The role of the teacher is to guide or act as a facilitator to discover knowledge. Learning is achieved through guided discovery, inquiry, problem-based learning, classroom discussion, and collaborative learning. Cooperston, Kochevar, Windinger explain, constructivist learning dictates that the concept follow the action rather than precede it. The activity leads to the concepts, and the concepts do not lead to the activity. The constructivist theory differs from other theories because it attaches importance to students' prior and background knowledge. MacLeod acknowledges that learning becomes a collaborative process. Knowledge develops from individuals' interaction with their culture and society. Students build new knowledge on the framework of previous knowledge, and learners are not empty containers, but come to construct new knowledge they have gained from previous experiences. As Mutu and Thai-Burgess assert, prior knowledge influences what new or modified knowledge they will construct from the new learning experiences. Social interactions augment learning. Social networks are essential within the constructivist framework, according to Duchesne, McMahon, and Mackenzie, with values attached to dialogues and interactions among students and between students and teachers. Students can collaborate on ideas, share, and compare. Muritu and Thai-Burgess state that learning occurs as students attempt to resolve conflicting ideas. Social networks from outside education, such as parents and friends, are essential as they shape how a student perceives knowledge. Having looked at the strengths of constructivism, we will look at the limitations. The time required to set up the ideal learning environment is a limiting factor. Duchesne, McMahon, and Mackenzie acknowledge that it takes time to provide the right environment to foster the student-teacher dynamic of trust. The learner may initially feel uncertainty and even frustration. Merrill acknowledges this confusion and frustration with the learner may be hampered by contextualizing learning in that initially they may not be able to form abstractions and transfer knowledge and skills in new situations. The students may initially need scaffolding and prompting to build trust between students and teachers. Vygotsky's The Zone of Proximal Development, the ZBD, diagram illustrates this. A teacher will identify a student and guide them to develop and stretch beyond what they could do by themselves. The teacher will, over time, remove scaffolding until the learner becomes accustomed and develops skills. This learning relationship takes time, and the teacher must understand each student's ability to adapt. Another limitation is that not all students learn the same way and have different backgrounds and knowledge bases. It can take much work to ascertain a student's progress. Without a standard grading and evaluation system, students can fall or be left behind. Students can use collaborative work to copy from one another, not stretching their knowledge. Teachers need to be equipped to allow a student-centered approach. Brooks and Brooks acknowledge the challenges. Becoming a teacher who helps students rather than follow is challenging and in many ways frightening. The classroom can pose challenges for the teacher with lesson preparation, as the student is the driver rather than the teacher delivering a direct lesson. The placement of chairs and tables needs consideration, with students requiring seating to discuss in groups. For a constructivist approach to be practical, students need lessons given consistently. The 5 E's model builds upon the knowledge, asking the student to engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. In the classroom setting, applying the constructivist teaching method, we will use a history lesson as an example. The students have been learning about the American Civil Rights Movement for several weeks. The students are broken into groups and the teacher asks, what if Rosa Parks chose to stand up on the bus? What would that have meant? The students would call on their prior knowledge and unique ways of thinking to construct and further stretch their understanding. The aim would be to challenge what they have learned and what it means, asking them to think critically. The teacher would act as a guide, prompting, realigning if the students drift too far, and challenging. The students could role-play, point form on paper, and draw a timeline to illustrate. It aligns with the 5 V's model and that the teacher facilitates knowledge growth, asking learners to engage with what they know. The collaboration will allow them to grow their knowledge by critically thinking about the topic with other peers. This type of learning is consistent with Bloom's taxonomy framework, building on knowledge through a dynamic process. The student can achieve higher order thinking by using their previous knowledge and experiences to construct their understanding and knowledge of the topic. Constructivism as a theory has a place in teaching. Social constructivism can engage and encourages the student to collaborate and not be a passive participant in learning. For the teacher, it allows them to guide and facilitate the student to seek knowledge and learning. Factoring in the limitations and understanding them can also make teaching dynamic and act as feedback to the teacher as students' learning paths are unique. It can help them understand what works well. Constructivism as a methodology ties into my belief that learning occurs daily, giving us the framework to question and push our knowledge to new limits. Thank you.